The House Democrats are surrendering their majority, their dignity, their reputations. They look like a bunch of fools. And I'll tell you, we have a lot of new stars in the Republican Party. I could read off a list of 20 names. But they're giving up their honor, and they'll receive a big backlash at the box office. When you take a look, that ballot box on November 3rd, I think we're going to have crowds like we've never had.
Certainly hope that's the case. And we might have even used that clip earlier in the show, but that's fine. It's good enough that it was worth hearing again. It was a quick one. Sometimes that's going to happen. Producer Mark's like, wait a second. And I was like, yeah, whatever. The Trumpster doing his thing. I like it. You know what is kind of funny? We were in the break for a second, and I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, there's a Democrat debate tonight. Oh man, I got a Christmas party to go to. I don't know if I want to watch this Democrat debate. Producer Mark, are you going to watch the Democrat debate tonight? It's just going to be the same old like blah blah socialism, blah blah Trump is Hitler. I mean, how much more of this can we take?
I mean, I'm going to be a captive audience, but
oh, you have to work.
I have to work, yeah. Though I'm not going to be paying attention, but I'll technically be watching it.
And there's a concern here that the first time this debate cycle, the libs are very upset about this. Very upset. The first time this debate cycle, there will not be a black or Latino candidate on the stage. You will have Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Mayor Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar. I don't know why I went into radio voice here all of a sudden. Amy Klobuchar, Bobby Newport. Some of you will know what I'm talking about. There are very few, but if not, you can just Google Bobby Newport. You'll see what I mean. Andrew Yang and, wow, Tom Steyer is going to be on stage. Tom Steyer still making it in there. You will not have Michael Bloomberg. He is not going to be in the mix. Who else is not going to be in the mix? Anyway, they're going to talk about health care. They're going to talk about all the things they always talk about. I don't know. I do this for a living. I don't know if before we go, I just feel like this is going to be a debate that's forgotten before it even finishes. People just be like, really? We got more of this? Debates also don't move the needle. I think there are too many of these. I think there are too many debates. You have to remember the debate format, the whole idea of having these televised debates goes back, first of all, it didn't exist till, hey, I have a brilliant bit of political analysis. Televised debate has only existed for as long as there has been the option of watching television. That's why they pay me the medium small bucks, producer Mark. But televised debate is something that used to be the time when you got to see in video form these politicians. But now we can see them. I mean, they're tweeting and live streaming and putting out their own clips on YouTube, and we see too much of. If anything, there's saturation of these politicians, videos of these politicians that's going on. So I mean, I have to say I'm not somebody that thinks that we need this at all. I don't know. I guess I'll have to watch some of it tonight. Maybe I don't know. It's not even going to be fun to live tweet it. You know, it's going to be more of the same stuff that they always say. They're not really going to go after each other at this point. It's also just really poor timing. I think people are fatigued with politics this week. Everyone wants to just get the holiday going and forget about this stuff for a week. Certainly we do here in the Freedom Hut. And Mark and I were just talking about this before. I mean, this is our last real Vegas. There's not going to be any producer Mark. I'm just neither you nor I are disappearing to Jamaica, okay, for 2 more weeks before Election Day.
Oh, I have a cruise scheduled after the election.
There we go.
Next year, yeah.
But we are locked and loaded in the Freedom Hut until Election Day after this holiday, where we will both have some nice time off. Where's the cruise going to go, though?
The cruise, I think it's going to Central America, Honduras, Belize, places like that, yeah.
Oh, nice. We
got a good deal, so we booked for our first-year anniversary.
I think it's a very nice move.
Yeah.
It's a good time. But, yeah, exactly. After the election. Right.
Yeah.
This is what – because we are – people are like, oh, Buck, do you have any fun travel plan this year? I'm like, yeah, travel to and from the office.
Yes.
To cover what we're going to be covering for the next year, because it's going to be a complete It's just going to be lunacy. It's going to be amazing, though. I mean, this will be the most interesting year to cover politics, I think, in our lifetime. I mean, my lifetime's longer than yours because you're a youngin.
You can't go anywhere. I can at least take a day or so here and there.
That's true, yeah, but I got to be here.
Nobody cares if I leave, but you got to give the analysis.
But this debate tonight, I don't even think that if I live tweeted, I don't think anyone's going to watch, and certainly no one's really going to be tweeted.
Also, who makes a debate right before Christmas?
That's absurd.
Like, why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Nobody cares.
Because this is part of the war on Christmas, obviously. It's Democrats.
Yeah.
Hate Christmas.
This is the reason why all the political shows go dark Christmas week. Nobody cares. They just want to be with their families and relax.
Speaking of Christmas, I gotta give the Trumpster a little credit here. Where did he say? Where did it go? He says that. Yeah, play it.
I'm thrilled to be here with thousands of hardworking patriots as we celebrate the miracle of Christmas, the greatness of America, and the glory of God. Thank you very much. And did you notice that everybody is saying Merry Christmas again? Did you notice? Saying Merry Christmas, right?
Merry Christmas. There we go. From me here in the Freedom Hut to all of you. Producer Mark, he celebrates Hanukkah, but he's also willing to say Merry Christmas because he is
I'm not going to get offended if somebody says Merry Christmas to me. I'll say thank you. You too.
Exactly. See?
I mean, I appreciate if somebody knows me, goes out of their way and says Happy Hanukkah.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm not going to get mad.
Happy Hanukkah from Producer Mark to all of you, and Merry Christmas from me to all of you.
But Merry Christmas to all that celebrate.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well,
most of you.
That's right. And to those of you that hate America and Christmas, I don't know, you're listening to the wrong show. I don't know what to tell you.
It seems like a great holiday.
Yeah, it's the best holiday.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Although, I mean, 4th of July, this year I really got to go all out 4th of July because it'll trigger all the libs. That ostentatious display of patriotism will get them particularly upset. All right, so I'll give you some since we're doing debate tonight, I'll give you some stuff here to chew on a little bit. You're going to look – no, there's actually very little to say about it. Other than I think that if there's one candidate on the Democrat side who could be the breakout of this whole thing, I mean, the person that nobody really saw coming until all of a sudden he was a top 3 contender, it would be Mayor Pete. He's very liberal, but he comes across as less shrill and crazy and inauthentic. And Elizabeth Warren, I think, is meeting with more Native American groups, but she doesn't apologize for. She never has said that she's a fake Native American. I mean, she's just sort of said that there was some confusion. No, there's no confusion. She's a fake Native American. There's no confusion here. We all know. The DNA test proved it. I still love 1/1024. It's like, I'm Native American. I might as well have just grown up a member of a tribe. I mean, nope, not true. But she has never really taken a full accounting of this. She has never decided that she would admit wrongdoing in this whole scenario. Instead, she's just taken the position that, well, I guess sometimes people can get mistaken about these things. Growing up the way that she did with parents who she claims were filling her head with this stuff. Anyway, the reality is Mayor Pete could have a big night tonight. I kind of wish Bloomberg was on this stage because the problem that Bloomberg poses for Democrats is that while he's ideologically very left-wing, he is not somebody who is in the day-to-day governance of this country. He would not be a complete and utter absurdity who doesn't believe in like math or management. Bloomberg is not an unserious person. He's a liberal, but he's not an unserious person. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, by the way, these are unserious people. I mean, these are people that are just clowns. They're not capable of running a large institution or running anything well. So I do think that because Bloomberg has a particular skill set here, it would be an interesting contrast. Whereas Tom Steyer is just desperate for the left-wing base to like. I mean, he's a true believer. I mean, he's kind of a scary guy. And it's a reminder that you don't have to be wise. You don't have to have good judgment to be a billionaire. You really just have to be in the right place at the right time. People always talk about all the hard work. Yeah, there's hard work, but everyone works hard. I tell people this all the time. A lot of people like to focus on the hard work that goes into success. everybody works hard who wants to get anywhere in life. You've also got to get really lucky. You got to be in the right place at the right time and be working. I mean, hard work is pretty much, unless you're winning the lottery, is pretty much a prerequisite. But Steyer will not be really that interesting. I want just one more thing, since we're talking about the debate, we're talking about elections a little bit. I think people will look back on yesterday, on impeachment day. They'll look back on it when Republicans take back the House and the Senate, and Donald Trump wins re-election, as the day the Democrats just jumped the shark. I do think that will happen. So I wanted to give you that little bit of comfort as we're getting ready to take off for the holiday. Not today, obviously. Tomorrow will be our last full show of the 2019 season. It's kind of amazing how quickly time flies. But I do think that this is going to be a moment in time that people look back on, and Democrats will never admit this, but they will know that this is when they lost. This is when things fell apart for them, and it was no longer possible for Democrats to make a real case to the American people that they should be put in power. So we will have to see if my prediction on that is correct. Can you get in trouble for saying that there are only two sexes? The answer, my friends, is most decidedly yes. This is among the most basic truths. Remember, libs pretend to like science and pretend to be about facts. And yet they run in circles and run and hide when asked questions like, how many sexes are there? Here you have the Independent, a UK paper, telling us the latest ruckus around this, which does in fact now bring into the mix J.K. Rowling, the billionaire author of the Harry Potter series, which producer Marcus told me I should read, so perhaps I will at some point, maybe over the break, actually. But here's what the Independent has. A researcher who lost her job after tweeting that men cannot change their biological sex has lost an employment tribunal after her opinions were ruled absolutist. The Central London Employment Tribunal upheld the firing of tax expert Maya Forstater over a series of tweets questioning government plans to allow people to self-identify as another gender. Ms. Forstater was a visiting fellow at the Center for Global Development, a think tank based in London and Washington, D.C., that campaigns against poverty. She was accused of using offensive and exclusionary language on Twitter for saying, and I quote, "Men cannot change into women." End quote. Her legal dispute against her former employer was seen as a test on whether gender critical view that there are only two biological sexes was a protected philosophical belief in the UK under the 2010 Equality Act. The judge declared that Forstater's view was incompatible with human dignity and fundamental rights of others. That's right, my friends. If you say that men cannot change into women in the UK, and it's coming here, it's already pretty much here, but it's going to be even more clear. If you take that position, which is a factual and obvious position and has been for all of history, continues to be true, and is just medically, scientifically true today, if you take that position, you can in fact be fired from your job. You can be fired from your job. And they will uphold that firing because it is incompatible with human dignity to say there are two sexes. I would just want to know, I want to ask liberals these days, what is the definition? What is a woman? I really mean that. Now, I know this is like a funny thing, and media magic would play this like, Buck Sexton doesn't know what a woman is, because they're morons. A disgusting organization full of idiots. But what is the liberal definition of a woman? If it's not biology, what makes a woman? Is it a series of superficial attributes? Is it long hair and long nails and certain style of dress? Seems that some liberals believe that, because if a man does those things, has perhaps some cosmetic surgery, creates the perception of larger mammary glands. I mean, like, what exactly? Someone explain, what is a woman? liberals really have tried to redefine this to a point where they don't have a definition anymore. And this has gotten so insane that I saw an article earlier this week as well that there is a movement now underway for what is being termed menstrual equality. This is now a thing, menstrual equality. Now, you might be saying, I think probably are, fuck, what the heck is that? And I would tell you that menstrual equality is the movement that now men's restrooms, by the way, we're heading toward all unisex bathrooms. That's what's going to happen. We're going to have all unisex bathrooms across the board. That is what we are heading to. But menstrual equality would be men having to have sanitary napkins and other devices for dealing with menstrual issues in men's rooms. They have to be distributed now in men's rooms too. This is a real movement. This is now underway. They want to start doing this. And I have to tell you, this is, when I say things like libs are crazy, how else would you refer to this? How else could someone describe a decision like this? I would have to know what exactly, how would you, what is this? You're going to put tampons in the men's bathroom? It doesn't make any sense to me at all, but then again, libs don't make any sense to me. Although there was another story that was troubling. This is like late in the season, late in the show, and you start getting into, stories about the bathroom situations. Wait, I'm sorry. Before I did that, also, what did J.K. Rowling do here? That was the reason this is getting so much attention. She has come under fire for, here you go. I'm trying to find her tweet. Dress however you please, she wrote. Call yourself whatever you like. Sleep with any consenting adult who will have you. Live your best life in peace and security. But force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real? J.K. Rowling's right here. She is getting hammered by lunatics on Twitter for this. And the lib media is going crazy on her. Because she's a liberal. She's merely saying, if you can get fired from your job for stating objective truth, then what is left? How can anyone believe that we have free speech if you can get fired for saying what is true, what is objectively true? There are only two. There's no third sex. It does not exist. There are only two sexes. But liberals, there's a lot of long conversations to be had about this and behind the scenes and everything else about what the kind of Marxist roots are of all of this stuff. Why is it they're trying to erase gender? Why do they want to remove all of this from the public sphere? But that's a conversation for, I suppose, another time. Man, I can't believe there's a second to last full show of 2019. Man, this time has flown by. This has gotten crazy, and I'm just glad that I have the team with me, because 2020 is going to be. This is going to be the craziest year we've ever done on the show. I mean, it's just going to be the most off the wall. The Democrats are going to lose their minds. I mean, I'm psyched. Don't get me wrong, I'm psyched, but I'm going to need a week here of a lot of Netflix and Thai food and like other takeout food. That's pretty much my plan.
It's time for roll call.
So this is a silly story, but I wanted to just mention it before we get into roll call. There's now a new company that's created a toilet seat. I don't know if you saw this, Producer Mark, but this is supposed to be about increasing productivity in the workplace. It's a toilet seat that is at a slight tilt so that you can't get that. It's uncomfortable to sit there for more than like 5 minutes because businesses don't like when people go to the bathroom and just sit there and read their phones for 20 or 30 minutes.
Do people do that?
Apparently.
Like,
this is a company.
I'm a germaphobe, so like I will never take a poo at work.
Thanks for that,
Ever.
Producer Mark.
I'm sorry, I was a little graphic there.
Yeah. You could just
I
use
could
the
have just
restroom.
used the restroom.
Producer Mark's been on vacation too
I
long.
have been.
Sir, we are not savages here.
But like, there's all those sitcoms that like I'll do How I Met Your Mother, reading a magazine at work, if you will. Like, who does that?
Yeah. Apparently
all
they don't
public
want
toilets to me, and this is a public toilet.
Apparently they don't want to read They don't want you reading magazines at work anymore. That's all I can tell you, because they've had these toilets that are out at tilt, and they're gonna. They're gonna start installing them.
When you first started saying that, I thought you were like, "Oh, it's like a squatty potty, but on the toilet." But
No. It's supposed to really be uncomfortable. So after a while, I guess, because you have to brace yourself with your thighs, your hammies, or whatever.
All right, this is gonna become a thing now. What about like people who are handicapped?
I guess they'll probably still be a normal toilet that's handicapped accessible, and then other people are going to want to use that toilet. This is going to cause problems.
Exactly. This is going to be a big cluster. You know what?
Yeah, I agree. All right, roll call. Let's see what we have here. Morning podcast listener every morning. I just get to do it. This is from Taylor. In the mountains of Utah, archery hunting for deer and elk, shields high. By the way, your beard's looking great. Thanks, Taylor. The beard's come in a little bit. I've figured out a little more about bearddom. So yeah, let's see what we have here next up. This is on the Facebook side, by the way, facebook.com/BuckSexton if you want to send us stuff. Let's see. Andy. Right. Hold on. What happens when 90% of the media is controlled or owned by sick corporations? What happens when those same corporations are operated and controlled by a political ideology? What happens when the news is no longer free from bias? There's a lot of what happens questions here in a row. Andy, thank you. What happens is what you're seeing around you right now, which is that you have a political echo chamber that is reinforced by almost all of the major media outlets that exist. Rick, right. Buck, I'm a little bit late on your movie comments. I must agree with you that Master and Commander with Russell Crowe is thoroughly excellent. As a lifelong sailor, I know it's difficult to realistically create the illusion of ships at sea, but Master and Commander is perfect pitch and my favorite seafaring movie. In that vein, I'd highly recommend the Starz series Black Sails, which is a prequel to Stevenson's Treasure Island. Everything from the script acting and cinematography combined to make it wonderfully entertaining and thoroughly compelling. I'm binge-watching it now, about halfway through the third or fourth season. I can't wait to see the next episode. You won't be disappointed. Shields high, Rick. Rick, I can tell you that is an excellent recommendation. I really like Black Sails a lot. I've seen every episode of it. I've watched every single episode. Have you ever seen it, Producer Mark? Oh, no. It's very good, I think, for what it is. There's a lot of, it's not for kids. There's a lot of, stuff going on. A lot of pirate ladies without a lot of clothing on. Especially in the first season, they do a lot of that stuff. But overall, it actually develops into a pretty sound script with good acting, and they overall do a good job. So I gotta say, I think it's a pretty good thing. Mike, Buck, one of Trump's accomplishments is seldom mentioned. Space Force. Space Force, party time, excellent. Woo. We don't really know much about Space Force, so I think that's you raise an interesting question there.
Maybe I'm not very read up on this, but what happened to NASA? Can't we just use them?
No, because this is a military command, yo.
Oh.
Yeah, NASA's about, like, space exploration. This is about blowing other spaceships out of the sky in the future when we have to.
Is this a real problem?
I mean, it could be. I don't know. You gotta read about
I'm not trying to mock anyone. I'm legitimately asking.
No, I mean, I think it depends on satellites and things like that, or it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, that's always a good plan. Donna writes, Dear Buck, love the show. I listen on my local station, but the last hour gets cut off for local programming. I listen on the podcast app as well. Sadly, I'm a little bit behind, but the app helps me pass the time when I'm cleaning. Keep up the good work, Donna. Well, Donna, thank you so much. And that's what I tell everybody. If you ever miss the show or you miss part of the show, that's why I download it on the iHeart app. Subscribe on the iHeart app. You can also subscribe on iTunes. That is the best way to make it happen. You can always listen that way. Let's see here. Philip, CNN panel discussion. Stop butting in while I'm interrupting. Thanks for keeping us safe and warm at night. Philip, thank you for thanking me. And yeah, CNN stinks. So there's that. Let's see here. Don. Good evening, Buck. I'm in lower area in lower Alabama, not California. I don't subscribe to cable, therefore I don't receive channels on the grid. When the truth was over by our Republican patriots, the network's broadcasting history went to normal broadcast, etc. Shield time. Don, thank you, man. Thanks for listening again. Appreciate it. Good to talk to you. Good to have you in on this action. Let's see what we got here. Joseph. Buck, you are the man. Keep up the good work. Expose those Dems. I really enjoy listening to you, Guy, every night on my ride home from work in New Orleans to Pearl River. And producer Mark is aight. Y'all just keep kicking butt and shields high. Well, Joseph, thank you, man. I appreciate you listening down in New Orleans, where we are on a wonderful affiliate down the New Orleans area. But you can always listen to the podcast, and I appreciate that I get to keep people company on their way to work. That is the plan. Jeff writes out, has anyone ever pointed out that Pelosi looks and talks like Fire Marshal Bill? Who's Fire Marshal Bill? Do we know who that? I don't know who Fire Marshal Bill is. So I'll have to look that one up. Let's see. Jeremy spoken. Just kidding. Sorry. I know that's every time I hear the name Jeremy, though, I think about that one. Is that the best Pearl Jam song? Probably. Come on.
Probably.
It probably is.
Yeah.
Producer Mark knows. He knows. Hey, Buck, last night on your show, other people emailed you concerning your audio issues. I'm telling you, man, I'm sure you're losing a lot of listeners because of it. I hope you take it seriously and get it fixed. It would suck if you didn't get it fixed because of the audio issues. I mean, are there audio issues still?
All right. The actual show, what I do and when you and I speak every single day, the day-to-day is completely fine. I even listened. I listened to the whole show. It was fine. When there are ad insertions, which I just put the times the ad needs to go in, I do not actually put the ad in. That is out of my control. So if the commercial's really low, I can email somebody about it, and I'm not even sure who. This is a big company. I can email them about it, but I don't control it.
Can we try to email whoever
I can
that
try.
would be?
I have been trying, but I'm just saying that it's really out of my control.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm glad you told everybody.
But I just would like to point out that everything you hear from the Freedom Hut, crystal clear and perfect.
That's right. That's how we do.
Yep.
Let's see here. But yeah, we should try to find whoever's doing the ad insertions. Hey, Buck, I saw your conversation on gun control. I just want to say we have the technology to save lives by having gun makers place a chip in all guns made and in cell phones, having them detectable when a gun is within 20 feet. Thank you for your time. Sincerely, Rondell. Current cell phones and guns should be updated for a small fee. Oh, Rondell, it wouldn't be a small fee. And just imagine for a second a chip put in a gun. So, I mean, are you talking about tracing it? Or are you talking about fingerprint, essentially a fingerprint trigger lock? I'm not really clear. But imagine if you're trying to defend yourself and all of a sudden, like, there's actually a fingerprint scanner in my building to get access to a certain part of the building. It's limited access. It never works. Fingerprint scanning technology is very spotty. So now who wants to have a fingerprint scanner on their firearm that they may have to rely on to save their life? And also, if you buy a gun legally, which some of the mass shooters we've talked about do and some of the criminals who use guns illegally do, although a lot of them don't. But if you buy a gun legally, who would institute this policy where you have to make sure that you have your fingerprint scanned before you could use the gun? Or couldn't you just be the owner of the gun that you're going to use illegally anyway? It doesn't make sense to me. It's a use feature, not a safety feature, and that causes major problems. And as for the cell phone thing, I mean, that sounds like that's going to be a multi-billion-dollar situation to put that on all cell phones. I don't know what this is. But Rondell, if you have any more specifics, please send them my way. You were wrong about Nancy Pelosi becoming president under today's impeachment question. If Trump is removed from the office by the Senate, then Pence will become president. He would select a new VP like Nixon did when Agnew resigned. That new VP would become president if Pence were to be impeached and subsequently removed, not Nutty Nancy. The only way Nancy becomes president is if both Pence and Trump die at the same time or close enough that Pence couldn't select the new VP. Yeah, I just meant that Nancy Pelosi's technically third in line in the current succession for the presidency. But yeah, a new president could, when Pence is elevated. So it's a fair point. When Pence is elevated, he can pick a new vice president. But if the president and the vice president were, God forbid, ever like on a plane at the same time and that plane went down or something, the Speaker of the House becomes the President of the United States. We all know how the succession there would work. Lucinda, I have a great concern about U.S. government. Okay. Lucinda, this one's a bit long. I got to read that one on my own. Next up here. Bob. Buck, I love your show. Crazy as a bedbug is an old saying. I'm 73. I got it from my dad, who was born in 1911. Also a year that Colt 45 made a very good handgun. Shields high. Bob. Bob, thank you, man. I've heard that. I've since learned that crazy as a bedbug is a thing. I don't have a question. I listened to your show before Coast to Coast in Omaha. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I wish you wouldn't do impressions. Okay, Catherine. I mean, we don't do a lot of them here. So, hopefully you can listen to the rest of the show. Also, I'd say the pro impressions.
You don't do a lot of them?
Do I do a lot of them?
I mean,
a fair
some
amount.
shows more than others.
Yeah, like today we didn't do any impressions.
Well,
really.
that's because you weren't talking about the Democrats.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't really impersonate Republicans.
We do a little bit. It's a little spice in the soup. But all right, Catherine, duly noted. I'd say the pro versus con impressions based on audience feedback is about 10-1 in favor. And if it wasn't, I would just stop doing it, obviously, because I want the audience to be happy and to have the best show they can. But your objection to fun is duly noted. So thank you very much. Thomas, try fired bacon. There's a restaurant in a small town in Texas that fires bacon. It's crispy and great. Is that also called cooking? I don't know. What do you mean fired bacon? I mean, is that what they do at the Trump Hotel where they have a little blowtorch and they char the bacon? I don't know. That might be a way to do it. Kyle. As someone who lives in Oregon, I hear daily that Trump is a devil. He's such a horrid president, etc. Ironically, the voting showed the majority of the state beyond the metro areas were heavily red. In regard to impeachment, it is, as you have said repeatedly, a farce. However, I think the RNC is going about dealing with it the wrong way. There need to be investigations into Schiff and to Biden. It needs to be full court press at this point. Biden did not use his influence to protect Hunter. He bragged about it, or did not only use his influence to protect Hunter. He bragged about it, and at this point, there needs to be a push on the right to show that kind of video on loops. It is going to be a crazy year. Let's hope the RNC can show some backbone. Well, let's hope. Let's hope. Let's see here. Hector writes, just saw you on Fox News. This is an old message, I guess. The Houston police chief aligns with the Democrats. He's from California. I'm a retired state trooper here in Texas. Stay safe. Yeah, Hector, I know. And that's why it was such an absurd. You don't know that he's a Democrat? She yelled at me. Yeah, I do. The guy's a Democrat, okay? We all know. It's ridiculous. But we can pretend not to know because that makes it easier for libs to make bad arguments. Let's now take a pause and we'll go into the email box. Juan. First email in teambuck@iheartmedia.com if you want to send it to us. Juan from Florida here. Shields high. Have you noticed that Nancy looks like she belongs with the Addams family? Meaning, yeah, she's dressed in black. I mean, yeah, I noticed she dressed in black for sure. Although that's much more common than just the Addams family, if we're going to be honest about it. Tom. Buck, love the show. Been listening since Saturdays. Congrats on the presidential retweets. I look forward to seeing you on Trump News Network in 5 years. So I had a quick question you'd probably know far better than I would. As my use of classified info has only ever been as a consumer prior to a mission, never as an analyst and never handling TS info. Does Vindman actually have the authority to determine that additional parties not present on the phone call between President Trump and Zelensky have a need to know about what transpired on the call, and could he face consequences on that? Also, any more Shields High podcasts? Shields High, Tom. Also, please know Alex Jones' best of segments. I can feel my IQ dropping just hearing them. Keep up the good work. Producer Mark. See, another high five for Producer Mark. Need to know is it's not really, as long as someone has a clearance, it's not a criminal violation. So the worst thing need to know would essentially result in some kind of administrative reprimand. Need to know is not something where you're going to get in a lot of trouble as long as the person has a clearance. So did Vindman have the right to say who had a need to know? Not really, but there's no real teeth behind that. So I don't think you can get too worked up and worried about it one way or the other. Here we go. Marina. I'll send some love for producer Mark. Having the wedding and the honeymoon behind you must be a relief. I can hear a difference in your voice. It's good to hear you laugh. The OSS have heard many producers in the Freedom Hut and your family, as far as I'm concerned, from Marina.
That's the nicest thing I've ever heard. Thank you, Marina.
There we go. See? Thank you, Marina.
I'm
Producer Mark
so
is actually smiling now.
I'm so much less stressed. You could tell, like, all of November.
Yeah.
I was on a different
You
planet.
were tightly wound.
Yeah.
That is true. Producer Mark is just cool like the other side of the pillow. All right, everybody. Second to last full show of 2019 in the books. Please, today and all through the holiday, tell people about the Buck Sexton Show. Pass the buck. Tell them to subscribe on the iHeart app or on iTunes to the podcast. Let's keep those numbers going up. Shields high.